Greetings and salutations, map birders, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, case number 9. Last time, what exactly did we do? Oh, we learned Kazuma's motivation, basically. That he was sent a hate mail from Britain, which informed him of his father's true passing. So, that's what motivated him to come to Britain. And apparently that was so strong that it surpassed amnesia. That's pretty much all we learned yesterday. Anyways, onward to interrogating, what's his name? Daryl? Daily Vigil. Gregson's request.
Inspector Gregson was obviously engaged in a special operation of some sort. He was investigating something that even Scotland Yard couldn't know about.
Details of the Reaper's marks, yes.
It was when he had to carry out those investigations that I would take his identification and impersonate him.
You'd pretend to be the inspector and carry out investigations on his behalf?
Oh no, never. A common street peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation. All I would do is go to the specified location and make a little hoo-ha. Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there would think a detective called Gregson was here. So, that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident? Yes, he asked me to make an appearance in the park on Lime Street for the Red-Headed League event. So as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around and was very vocal about my presence. But then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed fraudsters. Yes.
So, you would always make a point of showing Gregson's identification and generally being loud?
That's what the inspector asked me to do, yes. Well, that's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though. And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at the hands. But the following day, they kept their word and released me.
Without returning the inspector's identification to you, however.
We had arranged to meet in the Fresno Street room at 5 that day, so I could report back to the inspector. But at the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot.
The prison escape.
It was at midnight on 17th June, 10 years ago. That was the time scheduled for the execution.
But the professor's execution never actually took place, did it?
Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to affect the plan of escape. I hardly dare to imagine what a chilling plan it was. Barclay was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times. But there was one notable exception. Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned.
I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct?
Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of a condemned convict, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Lowgate Cemetery just behind the prison. The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers. And after that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. When the executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. I would wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, I went into the mortuary to find a lone coffin, as usual. The procedure was that I would sign the paperwork, having checked the coffin, then nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut.
Oh.
No! I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. So, you mean the coffin contained... Yes, I can only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was then taken out through the main gates and deposited in Logi Cemetery. Presumably, there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long.
So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free.
But in the end, it was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Loki Cemetery that night, I wonder? I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say that, with certainty, are two things. Asogi couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody working in the prison. And that somebody was not me.
I'm guessing the British government was gonna cover up the execution and like just send everyone back to Japan. Because even if he was convicted of being the killer, I don't think they actually had evidence of it. So they were just using him as a scapegoat. But in the end, somebody else shot him. He was also uncovered earlier than expected because of the grave robbing, but still, I think that was the original plan. He was just gonna be a scapegoat because I think the real professor was Clint Van Zeeks. That's where the killing stopped once he died. Yeah, and Asogi was just a scapegoat for it. And he didn't learn that until after he was imprisoned. And another thing, and the judge, the Japanese judge, Jigoku, and Professor Mikotoba don't know about this, obviously. We still need to figure out who shot the shot. Anyway, the convict Asogi. Obviously, you knew the man. You knew the man then. The professor, I mean, Genshin Asogi.
Yes, I remember him well, in fact.
Would you mind telling us what you know?
Well, having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After that trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by elite members of the judiciary, they called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity.
The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it?
It was a time of delicate diplomacy, when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. The man had less than a week in total. As I was chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. What do you mean, exactly? He was a killer of many men. He was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman, a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe that what he'd done, so I asked him one day. Those 5 men of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, are you really responsible?
I'm guilty. The unforgivable crime of ending another human's life, yes.
The following day, the closed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise. Guilty. That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something unusual.
Something unusual? What?
The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi.
Yeah, notice how he said a human's life. Singular. So I think, yeah, he killed Clint. Because he discovered who Clint was. While Clint asked him to protect Baran. Ah, goddammit. Alright, Asogi's will.
As I said, it was on the night following his trial, after he'd been found guilty. I was doing the rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Asogi's, I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand. Ah, his last will and testament then, presumably. As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back. But why did you find that so unusual? Is it normal for a man to pen a will when he knows his death is nigh? Yes, that's true. But there were special conditions to Asogi's incarcerations, you see.
What sort of conditions?
Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception.
Really? He was allowed his things?
That is unusual, certainly. Of course, he'd been convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy. But at the same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final days shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable. And what was the exception you mentioned to the personal effects he was allowed? That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials. Specifically, no pens or paper.
Wait, he was allowed to keep a sword?
So, he was prevented from leaving any written record of what happened to him? Yes, that was the long and short of it. I have no idea where he obtained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, I hid the paper behind his back, and then he pleaded with me. Why did you just hide behind your back?
Please. Turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline.
But we know it's against the rules.
You're the only person who's seen. You've just agreed to keep quiet.
Alright, then. What's on that paper?
A lost will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now.
How can a will be a weapon? So I decided to pretend I'd seen nothing, and I let him keep his will. But then later, It just seemed to vanish without a trace.
What? What do you mean, it vanished?
It would seem that that isn't the end of the story of this mysterious will.
The will's disappearance.
I was the only person who saw Asogi's will, but somehow it disappeared. It was after Asogi's execution, which was actually an elaborate jailbreak. The warders gathered up Asogi's possessions that were in his cell. They were all to be sent back to his family home in Japan, you see. To poor Kazuma-sama.
And you're saying that wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects? The will, I mean.
That's right. Though I didn't search through them myself, the Governor Hayden was livid. He was screaming. It can't have disappeared already completely.
Wait, he knew about them? Yeah, right?
That doesn't quite make sense though, does it?
In what way?
Well, we understood that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will's existence. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it?
Oh yes, you're right.
I really don't know how he knew. But it certainly seemed as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. Only he didn't refer to it as a will. What he said was the Asogi Papers.
The Asogi Papers.
I really can't tell you anything of the subsequent events. Because, well, of what happened.
Your dismissal. And the way you blocked it all from your memory.
I'd forgotten all this until today. I don't suppose it's relevant to the case, though.
Well, anyway. Thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We're very grateful.
I'm afraid there's really little more I can tell you.
My wife. Will be Evie or Evie?
My wife, Evie, will be here shortly, so I do hope I don't appear rude, but...
No, not at all. Thank you again.
But what will become of you now? Well, impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. I imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I shall be arrested.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be, please. This is all my own doing. I always knew that this day would come.
Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. Ah! Before you go, there's just one thing. Oh, yes? What is it?
The Asogi Papers. I'd be very grateful if you'd make no mention of the things I told you about them.
Presumably for some good reason.
It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. If it became known that I'd remembered, well, it could be rather troublesome, I think.
I understand. Some sort of will that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder. Perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. And if there's anyone who might know more about a document that Kazuma's father left behind.
it would be Mr. Vigil's governor. Then we know precisely where we must go. Back to Barclay Prison.
Well, at least he seems to be on the mend.
You know, his disguise as Mr. Gossip was really quite masterful, wasn't it?
I can't remember anything about it except for the floppy lip.
I imagine not even his wife would have recognized him.
Perhaps, but did he really have to take it quite so far? Second November, Barclay Prison Governor's Office. Ugh. Back again, are you? Yes? Hello? I've heard all about your investigations. I read the report just now. You found him, eh, Vigil? Yes, luckily. Well, anywho, the laddie doesn't work here no more. So your case is now not to do with Barclay. I wouldn't like you to get the wrong idea about that. Of course, yes. Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so...
Yes, we've seen his dismissal notice, haven't we? He was given the chop.
Hey, Kimmer. You can very well. So, how about a wee handcuff biscuit?
Oh, they really are like little handcuffs. And as hard as iron, too.
So, what's brought you down here today?
Well, there's something else we'd like to ask you about, Ashley.
Is that so?
We believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Asogi's cell. I think it's been called the Asogi Papers or something.
Did I no say? Grayson's death is not to do with things that might have happened at Barclay. Leave the past in the past, laddie. Let's not further about we irrelevant details.
His expressions changed completely. We're clearly onto something here. "10-year-old legacy."
The murderous botched execution and the whole miserable escape. They were Barclay's darkest hour, aye. A shocking embarrassment.
Because the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff, you mean?
Aye, for shame. The coroner who confirmed the death of the man after his execution, Courtney Thice, and my chief ward at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair.
But Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it.
The rascal wouldn't say otherwise, eh? More handcuffs?
Oh, how can I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet.
Just again, Iris.
When Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened, he was so despairing he jumped out of the office window, didn't he?
I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get out of it. Do you no think he wouldn't have jumped from the shock of his crimes being exposed, eh? I do.
You wouldn't say otherwise, though, would you?
Of course, I can't share no responsibility myself. I shouldn't have let him deceive me.
He's in on it. I know he's in on it.
Actually, there's barely anybody that kens what went on at the time now. Will Gregson have been murdered and Dr. Sykes forbidden from having any visitors?
No visitors. Someone obviously doesn't want her giving anything away. Well, we're not going home empty-handed.
And I wouldn't dream of sending you back with not Kima. Here, take a handcuff or two.
Oh, well, it would be rude to say no. Wouldn't want to become anemic.
I suppose if there's anybody who might still can about what happened back then, it'd be that last from the forensic division, Maria Gori.
Maria? Gory?
Hey, Sykes' daughter. She didn't have no more. Just the one. The wee barons followed her mom's footsteps. Did Dennis ever see her without a scalpel in her hand?
Ah.
Mama, what is this?
Ugh! But where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? Dr. Sykes' daughter, Maria Gori. We could do with talking to her. Gori. So, she's Dr. Sykes' daughter. Her surname is Gori?
Aye. There's some family history, I'm sure. But I didn't ken the ins and outs of it. She grew up watching her ma'am, working with the bodies of the folk who died in strange circumstances, and decided to do the same with her own life. I cannot understand it myself.
Perhaps she was driven by a deep respect for her mother.
Perhaps. Anywho, she was in charge of Grayson's autopsy, I believe.
Right. And the coroner responsible for this incomplete report.
Someone told me once the wee lassie always loved her mom's stories about cutting up bodies. There's even a rumor that she used to listen to the funeral march like a lullaby.
How the hell would anybody know that?
Well, then perhaps her mother might have been told about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago. Her mother might have told her about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago.
Aye, I think there's a fine chance at least. After all, another life-changing case for all of us.
We really need to speak with Miss Gori herself about this, I think. Well, thank you very much.
I'm no happy about any part of this. It took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you gee up on this, laddie? Stop asking pointless questions.
I'm sorry. I don't like dredging up these painful memories for everyone.
Can you just stay away now? Just leave me alone and then I come back here, eh?
Well, sorry, but I still have to ask you about the Sogi papers.
How'd you come to keen about that, laddie? There's no many folk, even here in the prison, who have heard of those papers.
Ah, well, I can't tell them. Mr. Vito told me.
I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir.
We've been led to believe the papers are actually a last will and testament. Is that right? The professors, or rather, Geshin Sogi's,
Aye, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy.
Oh, is that the end of the silent treatment? But then, after the convict's execution, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it?
Heavens no! You're off a half-cock there. I think you didn't quite get your facts straight. It was there in the cell, exactly where it should have been.
Oh, not what we heard elsewhere.
Let me just have a wee hook around here. I'm sure I can find it. Aye, here you are. See?
The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi, written with a calligraphy brush.
Of course, I cannot read a word of those Japanese schools. By mind, it says he leaves all his worldly possessions to his son back in his homeland.
Yes, that's correct. That's the gist of it.
So these are the Asogi papers?
Aye, of course they are. Papers written by Asogi. No doubt about it. There's no mystery here, laddie. That's your lot. After all this stramash, that slasher of an execution, we sent the man's possessions back to his clan in Japan, and that was the end of it.
I think we ought to make a record of this, Mr. Naruto, just in case.
The Asogi papers have been entered into the court record. The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi that Mr. Vigil claims disappeared after the convict's execution. Apparently, Mr. Asogi described it as the only weapon I have left.
One thing before you go on your way, Mr. Naruto.
Oh, yes?
Those papers are now not to do with Grayson's death. I'd prefer if you didn't make no mention of them outside his office. Or rather, I wouldn't have just prefer it. Consider it an order from the highest levels of Uro government.
I understand. Corrupt. I, Genshin Asogi, hereby request that upon my death, any and all material possessions and wealth belonging to me in London be delivered to my son, Kazuma Asogi, in the Empire of Japan. It is with deep sadness that I accept my fate in this foreign land, in the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or family again. I regret nothing about my chosen path. Huh. Oh, I can present these Asogi papers to Kazuma. Man, he got his own theme song replaced in the office. Okay, judging by how this case is titled, the wavering or Kuruma, I imagine he shoved it into the hilt of the sword. The real Asogi papers. God damn, I gotta wash my hands. What the hell is that? My knuckles all dry. I just like stand here with my eye. Kazuma, what do you make of this? Oh, really? He didn't want to read them. That's surprising. I thought it was like... it was gonna be like a thing. What's this? What do I need to present to him then? I am perplexed. Okay, that was more max than anything. firecrackers doesn't make sense. If anything, that should be done. Think about the nose board. Another crime scene. Oh! Okay, unexpected. This came up in the trial, didn't it? As something a little dubious, I mean. The fact that no time of death was recorded on Inspector Gregson's autopsy report. Yes, there were some unexpected turns in the courtroom earlier. The suggestion you came up with certainly took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location is quite something. Well, considering when the pocket watch had stopped and the scorch marks on the candle, it's certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence and the scene both point to it. To be honest, it bothered me too. So I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. The reporter responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. Dr. Corey.
If it wouldn't trouble you, Kazuma-sama, we'd very much like to speak with the coroner too.
Of course. The last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory is behind Logate Cemetery. Logate Cemetery? By Barclay Prison, you mean? Ah, you know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life.
Kazuma-sama.
Well, thank you. We'll pay a visit to the laboratory later today. That's what it was, okay. Rinosuke, I want to thank you. What for? For this. You safeguard the soul of the Asogi clan. Well, it is a famous sword that's been in your family for generations. My only slight regret is I never got the chance to draw it before I returned it to you. Kuruma is said to have been forged by a master swordsmith during the Sengoku Warring States period. I come from a long lineage of warriors, many of whom were expert swordsmen. Well then, you're a chip off the old block, I say. This blade, Kuruma, is the symbol of the Asogi clan's honor and might. Apparently, one of my father's apprentices even took the blade's name for a surname. Really? Kuruma. It does sound formidable, that's for sure. 16 years ago, when my father was a visiting student here in London, he had this sword forever at his side. Which is why it means so much to me that I have it by my side again now, too. And that is all thanks to you. It was an honor. Now, I have preparations to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little too much. Kazuma, you've changed. No, Rinosuke, I haven't changed at all. It's you who should change. I can completely understand your resentment of Lord Van Zeeks given what happened. The fact is, those events in this case are, well, unrelated? Is that what you want to say? How can you be so sure? What do you mean? Never mind. That man is the Reaper, and it's for that reason that the inspector was killed. I'm going to prove as much in court tomorrow, by whatever means necessary. I can't let you do that, Kazuma. I know you'll do what you have to as a lawyer, but I'm sure I don't need to tell you. I won't be taking any prisoners in the courtroom. I would expect nothing less. Until tomorrow, then. And you'll bail. have gotten like 3 hours of sleep for the last 2 weeks. Alright, forensic laboratory. 2nd November. Forensics laboratory. Wow, she redecorated. This place really is creepy, isn't it?
Well, being a dead room, it's probably full of the spirits of the dissected. But actually, there's a rather pleasing scent of roses in the air. Well, being a dead room, the corner probably needs a bold scent like that to mask the odor of death.
We really should not be bringing a child here. Iris? Do you think we could change the subject?
What was that?
Ah, Dr. Gory?
What?
That noise before.
I was sharpening my tools. I'd be dead meat if I didn't keep them a perfectly keen edge on them.
Right.
I'm following the collagen fibers in the dermis, and an expertly sharpened scalpel cuts like cheese. Would you like a demonstration? Oh, yes please, I'd love to see. Then, I think you'll do nicely.
Huh? No! No, I wouldn't do nice at all! I mean, maybe some other time. Is that touch? Well, we came here to ask questions, so... I wonder how cute she is under that mask. Because it's a female in aceattorney. The chance of her being not cute is like 1 out of 10. And when they're not cute, they make an emphasis of not being cute. Like old bag. Time of death. We have actually met before. I'm a lawyer, if you remember.
You're not dead yet.
What?
So Mama said I wasn't to cut you open. You're so strict about things like that.
Well, good. Mr. Seiss has some scruples, at least.
Oh dear. It looks like she's not interested in talking to us. For the time being, anyway.
For the time being? You mean until we die? I hope that's the way off. Sorry, but I wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. Surely there's some less drastic way of making her listen. Let's autopsy report. Dr. Gory, we actually came here to ask you about this.
He was very good.
Good? Sorry? Ew, okay, I guess he did said.
His skin didn't snag my blade once, and was very little mess. His joints dislocated easily. His muscle tissue was a pleasure to work with.
We can skip those details. But there is one thing about the report that caught my eye. You don't seem to have recorded a time of death. Oh gosh, she's super cute.
That's my fault.
Oh, that made jump. Will you marry me? I mean,
Then please, tell us what happened.
double death. So, why doesn't this autopsy report include the victim's time of death then? It's really the most crucial detail. Huh.
I was told not to write it.
What? By whom?
Mayor Strongheart, the Lord Chief Justice. He came here.
Or Strongheart came.
He said that from the witness statements about the gunshot and the other evidence, it was obvious. The man clearly died at 5 p.m. on 1st November when the gunshot was heard. But that's not the time of death you wrote on the report. You didn't write anything. Was there some reason you didn't include it?
Dr. Gory, if you're hiding something under Lord Strongheart's instructions, then sooner or later, you're going to go the same way as your mother.
Give it here, then.
Eh? Why's she scribbling so fiercely? There. You've written... What?
What's she written? Tell us.
Indeterminate.
But
The details of the autopsy report have been updated in court record. Indeterminate. What do you mean by that? Why was the time of death indeterminate? It was past the rigor mortis point. Was it?
when the specimen was brought in, it was still fresh. Well, the time of death could easily have coincided with when the gunshot was heard. But there was one small discrepancy.
What discrepancy?
There was some fried fish in the pocket of the specimen's overcoat.
My God, man. Thank God.
And that fish had started to rot.
What?
If the victim liked fried fish, he presumably liked to eat it before it went off.
Well, yes. What are you really trying to say?
It's possible that someone tried to manipulate the apparent time of death.
Manipulate the... Is that even possible to do?
Theoretically, if you were to chill the body in ice, you could delay the onset of putrefaction. And if the overcoat wasn't on the body at the time,
Then only the fish will have started to rot.
with today's science, it's not yet possible to determine if the body was chilled or not.
But today's science is advanced enough to let you freeze a corpse, it seems.
But surely, to chill a corpse like that would require an enormous electrical refrigerator. And I don't imagine many households in London are equipped with such a device. No, definitely not. But maybe in a factory, or some other special places. I don't recall seeing any factories or such like on Fresno Street, though. I wonder if the inspector's body had been chilled somehow. What might the actual time of death have been? I can't say for sure. But at most, it might have been a day earlier.
No.
In other words, it would corroborate your previous deduction, Miss Naruto. That Inspector Gregson was killed a day before his body was discovered, in a different location.
Did you inform Lord Strongheart of this possibility?
He simply said that there were no electrical refrigerators of that size in the vicinity.
Oh yes, one other thing. It's something the governor of Barclay Prison told us. He said that your mother, Dr. Seiss,
was responsible for confirming the death of the professor after his execution. The professor. Apparently, you always enjoyed listening to your mother's stories about her work, so we were wondering if you might know something about what happened 10 years ago. That's not all Mama did. Sorry? My mama carried out the autopsy of Clint Van Zieks as well. What? Really? The brother of Lord Van Zieks, the professor's final victim. The idea of carrying out an autopsy on a member of the aristocracy was completely unthinkable back then. But the detective in charge of the investigation insisted, and it was miraculously authorized. The inspector, the detective being Inspector Gregson, of course.
Quite an accomplishment for one man.
That autopsy provided the vital clue needed to arrest the killer. And Mama was there for that historical event. What does all this mean? You know, that amazing autopsy happened right here in this room. This very room. The professor and Clint Van Zieks. They both spent their final moments before their burial on that dissection table there. So this lab, Mama's lab, was instrumental in some of the country's most important events.
She really is proud of her mother. I wonder if you tell us more about exactly what happened back then, Dr. Gory. Oh, okay. Confirmation of death.
The professor's execution was Mama's first big case. She had to be in attendance at Barclay Prison's execution chamber and signed the certificate to confirm the convict's death. Mama's the best coroner in the world, you know. I was so proud of her.
But the execution didn't actually take place.
No, it was still. Mama actually helped with the jailbreak. I didn't want to know. Oh dear. You found out recently, you mean? I believed in Mama, but I wonder if I'm starting down the same path of her.
You mean because you omitted the time of death on this autopsy report? But that's because Lord Strongheart forbade you from including it.
Just like Mama. I'm sure she was coerced by somebody too.
Yes, that's my feeling as well.
There's no doubt that there were powerful forces at play 10 years ago. The execution couldn't have been staged without a lot of people at the prison knowing about it. Honestly, the prison governor must have been in on it as well. The big man with the little handcuffs. According to what he told us. He was tricked by the chief warder. He says he knew nothing about it. Of course he said that. I'd say the same thing. Just who was behind the jailbreak all those years ago?
Clint's autopsy. I really wonder what the heck they found. You mentioned the autopsy of Clint Van Zieks.
It was at a time when carrying out autopsies of murder victims was very unusual. It's still not a practice that's observed in our country even now. It turned out that he was the professor's final victim, and when the autopsy was performed, Mama was present, although only as the secondary assistant. The person leading the procedure was called Dr. John H. Wilson.
Well, I think I'm starting to understand what's going on. They're silencing everyone involved in the case. Everyone.
That's right, my daddy. And there was one other person present, the primary assistant. He was a visiting student from the Far East.
Oh. Okay, maybe it's not. Maybe they just try to smoke him out of the country. Ow. Wait. A visiting student?
It must have been my father, Eugene Mikotoba.
I had no idea Professor Mikotoba had been involved in something so important.
At the outcome of that historic autopsy was the discovery of a vital piece of evidence that led to the capture of the professor.
So that's how they came to identify Genshin Asogi as the infamous mass murderer. Do you happen to know anything about that piece of evidence? Can you tell us any more?
Would you like to see the records for yourself?
Can we? What? Would that be alright?
What's the point of keeping records if people can't look at them? They're found under V in the back of those cupboards, with the other records from the last decade.
Thank you! Let's see. Van Zeeks. That's strange.
What, Miss Naruto?
They aren't here. There's nothing under Van Zeeks.
There must be.
Perhaps somebody took them away?
No one's allowed to take documents related to the professor case out of this room. But you're right. They're gone.
Well, when was the last time somebody looked at them? Do you remember?
It was... Oh yes, I remember now. It was 2 years ago. A constellating detective came one day saying that he'd like to see the records.
No, you don't mean.
Alex Jones was his name.
Deep down, I knew that was coming.
Do you think he stole the records? Oh no, surely not. Iris, that can't be right, can it?
Iris?
Bruno. I hope you don't mind, but...
What is it, Iris?
I've just remembered something very important I have to do. I'm going to have to leave you now. Oh, this is very sudden, Iris. Well, we'll come with you then. Oh no, there's no need. You and Bruno can take your time here. Bye for now then. Good luck.
Oh.
Wait a minute, little girl. Huh? Me? I remember now. You've been here before, haven't you?
Have you, Iris?
Yes, 2 years ago, when that detective came. You were with him, weren't you? You were a living specimen then, too.
That's the way it usually works, yes.
Was I? I don't really remember. Anyway, sorry, buy a mustache.
Wait, Iris?
I'll brew up a pot for you when you get home.
What's the matter with her? She's behaving really strangely all of a sudden. Well, in that case, we won't keep you any longer either.
It's been quite a while since I had any visitors. This was really fun. But next time you come, I prefer it if you were ready for that dissected section.
I can't make any promises, sorry. It's a bit strange that the records for Clint Van Zeek's autopsy have disappeared. But I think we've asked all we came here to ask now. Not here. No one here. Oh, we're going back to the Fresno Street room. Second November. Room on Fresno Street. The police are still busily investigating in here then.
But Gina's nowhere to be seen. Where is she?
Yes, it has been blissfully quiet, hasn't it? Perhaps she's out investigating on her own. Practicing what her boss taught her.
Well, I expect she'll be back before too long. Shall we wait?
Actually, there's something different about this room since the last time we were here, isn't there?
We could always use the time to investigate more thoroughly.
This old trunk wasn't here before, was it?
Oh, it appears to be made of metal. It must be very heavy. I wonder whom it belongs.
There's some initials on the outside, look. TG. God, if we only knew anyone with that combination of letters. I'll ask one of the policemen if they know how it came to be here.
Oh! What do you think you're doing? That's my trunk that is. And hand off. Gina.
Well, where have you been hiding? Where were you hiding?
I don't know. I leave something unattended for a few seconds. And every Tom, Dick, and Aries got its greedy eyes on him.
Just a wild guess, Gina, but...
What? Spit it out, Udo.
Is it fair to say that you've only owned that trunk since this morning, Charles?
What? What are you trying to say? Come on, this trunk goes with me everywhere. Always has. Where have you been the last year?
Try not to incur your wrath, mainly. boss.
You should air them talking at the yard now. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're saying it was the boss who killed all of them bludgers.
Ah, you mean the whole Reaper thing?
Yeah. Apparently, the boss was investigating stuff that no one else at the yard knew nothing about. Stuff to do with all them criminals who got scot-free.
Yes, the ones prosecuted by Lord Van Zeeks, who used bribery and corruption to evade conviction.
Well then, obviously, it was that bloomin' Reaper given the orders, weren't it?
But why would people be suspecting Inspector Gregson of being involved in the killings?
There was a notebook hidden in his office.
Oh no, this doesn't sound good.
It had details about all the crimes that have been pegged as the Reaper's work.
What?
No. Did you see it, Gina? Did you see that notebook? They wouldn't. Blemmin' let me. Just cause I'm an apprentice, apparently. But it was me who found it. And he was my boss. That's right. I was pretty miffed about it, so I took it. I take a peek at what it said anyway. Oh.
That's our Gina. The secret notebook. So, you managed to see what was written in Gregson's secret notebook anyway, did you?
Boy, I see it. It's my right to read what he wrote. And what had he written, Gina? Dates, times, places, names, an all long list of them. All these are about the bludgers supposed to have been done in by the Reaper. But there could be an explanation for that. Perhaps it was a record of the inspector's investigations into the Reaper's activities. Exactly. That's what I said. That's the first thing to think, right? As it happens, it was full of names I recognized anyway.
Well, the Reaper's targets were almost exclusively known as leaders of London's criminal underworld.
Well, yeah, but there was one name right at the end that was a bit odd.
At the end of the list, you mean?
I'm pretty sure the date against it was 31st October. Oh, the day before the inspector was found dead.
So, what was the odd name?
It wasn't like a name I've ever seen before. It was something like, nah, it's not good. I can't remember it. I don't think there was an English name. Put it that way.
Was it Assassin?
Oh dear, what a pity. There's something else too. I don't know if it matters, but the same name kept coming up over and over. Shin, it was. Don't suppose it means anything, but...
Did you say Shin?
Eh? What? Does it mean? It does mean something.
Lord Van Zeeks knew the name too. He mentioned her as well. The woman who actually did the deeds. And now, we find out her name appeared in Gregson's secret notebook. Your investigations. We haven't seen you for a little while, have we, Gina?
Well, of course not. I've been busy, aren't I? Investigating that. The lads at the yard are trying to trace the boss's movements the day before it happened.
The day before. That would be the undercover investigation into the Red-Headed League then.
Only the boss didn't go, did he? You found some cove with what was pretending to be him, didn't you?
Odo. Yes, there's Mr. Vigil, who actually went to the park on Lime Street that day, posing as Gregson.
Well, anyway, you ain't the only one turning stuff up. Yeah. I've got my own ways of getting results. when me and me partner get together, there's nothing we can't track down. Oh, little Toby. He's such a faithful friend.
So, have you tracked anything down then?
We're just thinking. Of course we have. Can't tell you though. Police business in it. Anyway, the point is, if you lot ever need any help, you know who to turn to, right? Me and the around here.
Right, because he looks so hellish, honest. The Hellhound! Gina, about your Hellhound there.
Chief Inspector Toby, you mean? He's the pride of the force, he is. In Japanese, police dog means something quite different, and not altogether nice to those involved in crime. But here in Britain, it's a wonderful compliment, it seems, for a canine at least.
It should be, after all. In the Great Exhibition case the other day, it was Toby here who managed to locate Drebber's workshop.
Maybe it's time for another demonstration of what this super dog can do, eh?
Do we have something the Chief Inspector could catch the scent of, I wonder? Well, Chief Inspector Toby, if you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this.
The Chief Inspector said woof to that odor.
Yes, I heard.
I think perhaps that particular item didn't excite him very much.
Damn.
And you got nothing else.
I'll have to think. Okay. Surely the pocket watch showed something, right?
Take that!
Well, Chief Inspector Toby, if you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this. It's not letting me skip through it, so I don't know if this is right or not. He might be a little too keen, don't you think? Oh. Ah! The Chief Inspector made short work of Gina there. Ah! Look what he's gone to.
Oh my, that trunk clearly still has a very strong scent. Of Inspector Gregson.
In other words, it must have belonged to him.
Alright. It's a fair cop, I suppose.
And you nearly got away with it too.
You always talk so proudly of Chief Inspector Toby's nose, and why can't Chief? Did it not cross your mind that you might identify something that was right next to us? Yeah, that was a bit of a bloomer, weren't it?
That's enough now, then, Gina. Yeah. I think it's time you told us the truth about that trunk. The mail trunk.
It wasn't like that. It just wasn't.
What are you talking about?
I know what's going on through that head of yours, but that ain't what happened.
Alright then. What did happen?
Well, like I said before, we were trying to trace the boss's movements. Sort of Toby have a whiff of the boss's overcoat. As soon as he had done that, he went off like a shot. Straight to the sandwich.
To a sandwich? Not a bag of chips?
Mr. Naruto, I believe Gina means the witness.
Oh, I forgot about that sandwich.
Yeah, he had it in between them wooden boards of his. The boss is drunk.
Man. You mean when they heard the sound? When they heard the sound like a gunshot and would all piled in here?
Exactly. He nabbed it from the scene. Goodness. Me and the chief inspector gave that sandwich a good grilling. And you know what he said?
I thought it might fetch a good price, and the chap wouldn't be needing it anymore, so... But that's all I did. Nothing more, nothing less.
What you, Adam and Eve, the check of it then, eh? Stealing the dead boss's stuff to flog.
So Miss Venus wasn't the only one to meddle with the scene of the crime then.
How could they? So anyway, that's how it happened. And it's pretty decent drunk, so I figured I might as well make use of it. Is there something wrong with that, eh? Well,
maybe you and Mr. Sandwich should try to find the answer to that question together.
I think perhaps that trunk should be turned over to the police, don't you? What are you on about? I am the police.
Tina, if you wouldn't mind, could we maybe examine it?
Yeah, alright then. Do what you want with it. Thank you. We shall make a detailed record of our examination of the evidence.
Grigson's trunk has been entered into the courtroom. Oh dear. What's the matter with Toby? Why is he acting so aggressively towards me all of a sudden?
Mr. Hodo, be careful. It must be the trunk.
That's scary.
Ah! Toby! Oh! What are you doing? You're gonna lick his face off. Mr. Hodo! Mr. Naruto! Tina, quickly, hail a carriage.
Were we knocked out for the day? 2nd November, 4:57 p.m. Naruto's legal consultancy. Alright, let's check out the case. Let's have a look inside. Oh, that's... a lot less dramatic than I thought it was. Look! There's something inside.
Oh, let's see. It appears to be a passport, authorizing him to travel overseas.
Was Inspector Grayson about to go on a trip abroad then?
Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh!
Was it?
It was for travel on 31st October, just one day before the incident.
What? Really? The passport has been entered into court record. Grayson went to France the day before his body was discovered. Or he was supposed to. Nothing else. Whoa, big flash mark. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind.
Gosh, for a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged. Whoever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force.
I wonder how it happened. The bullet, maybe? You can't zoom in. That doesn't zoom. That doesn't zoom. Yeah, there's no zoom option. Oh, that's blood. Look at this dark stain here. Do you think...
Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood.
Ugh, I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means...
That this was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. It's the most logical conclusion, yes.
I think Gina's been carrying this around with her. She's very... non-observant. If you didn't know any better, I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. Yes? I don't know, that's kind of pushing it. Passport. Tobias Gregson. Passport number ACD0522. Date of departure within 1 week from October 31st October. Destination: Port of Dunkirk, France. Purpose of travel: police business. Notes: permission for the applicant and 1 additional person to travel.
Oh, Mr. Naruto, are you alright?
Mr. Sato.
Ah, conscious again at last. A blessed relief, my dear fellow. Oh, struck dead after a moderate licking by a small terrier. Most unseemly. What is unseemly, or what is or isn't unseemly, or what is or isn't seemly is irrelevant here, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so glad that there is no lasting damage. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, thank you. Did you bring me back here? What's this on my head? A bandage?
Sadly, we had no tea. We had no ice. So that's a compress of sugar water.
Is that a thing? Sugar water?
Don't worry, Mr. Naruto. It's a first aid treatment that my father taught me.
Oh, thank you. Does that not just promote bacterial growth?
So, let's take tea when you're feeling up to it. But of course, no sugar in the patient's cup.
The bump of my head is throbbing sweetly enough, don't worry.
Whenever you feel ready, then.
What to do?
Are you alright, Mr. Naruto? It's rather unusual to find ourselves here in the middle of our investigation.
It's just occurred to me that I might have forgotten something when we left this morning.
Please don't worry. As long as you continue to investigate thoroughly, you won't go far wrong.
Oh, yes, of course. I must get back to work as soon as possible. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Sholmes.
My dear fellow, think nothing of it. I must say I was quite startled when I heard that you'd been attacked by a dog. For a moment, I feared that the infamous murderer of so many had come back from the dead.
You mean the professor?
Fortunately, I see your prized throat is unscathed. That stiff, upturned collar of yours obviously affords some welcome protection.
Was I that close to death? All I really remember is the dog licking my face over and over and over again.
Well, if you wish to avoid such troubles in the future, a little mustard spread on the cheeks should do the trick. I should think that would balance the sweetness of your bandage rather splendidly. My desk is just as it is before I left.
So my ink and calligraphy brush, even though we're in England now. That strikes me as typical of you, Susato, Miss Susato, and typically not you at the same time.
Well, I do enjoy all the wonderful new things to come out of the West, in the Cultural Revolution, of course. But I'm not ready to give up my brush just yet.
And anyway, Susato-san can write more neatly with a brush than most people can with a pen.
Practice makes perfect, as they say.
About this, Miss Susato, do you notice anything unusual about it, perhaps?
I'm sorry, I don't, no. I'll redouble my efforts and spend more time doing research, so next time I won't let you down.
I think perhaps you're taking your role as judicial assistant a little too far. Huh. What should I do here? Because if I could talk to Gomes, I would present him with everything we've got so far. Nope, nothing. Password shows nothing. Okay, trunk shows nothing. Do I go back to the room? No? Do we talk to Van Zeeks? And he's gone. No one here. Huh. Ah, it was it. Alright, I'm gonna call it a day there. And we will continue this next time. We're probably gonna figure out where Iris is due to. Yeah, I probably should have figured it out when it said we're going for tea. There's only one place we have tea, and that's in his living room. Anyways, thank you everyone who joined me today, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye! We're probably finishing up this soon.